From dog tags to ownership, heroes take the lead. Stories of veterans building trains with passion, drive, and speed. From service to success, we're here to inspire the quest. Dog tags to ownership, we're the best. Take the prize.
From the battlefield to the boardroom, this is Dog Tags to Ownership, the podcast where veterans share their journeys from serving our nation to leading in business. Hear inspiring stories of grit, growth, and the entrepreneurial spirit that drives those who've served to succeed. Tune in and take the first step toward your own mission in entrepreneurship.
Military One Percenters, welcome to Dog Tags to Ownership, where once a week we interview veterans who charted a path towards entrepreneurship. Here, our goals are to share resources, advice, and success stories about starting a business, discuss strategies for building financial independence and creating your own path, and most importantly, build a community to support each other through the challenges of transitioning from service life to civilian ownership. Extremely excited to introduce our guest to the show. I'm reading. Jim is a former British Royal Marine physical training instructor and the founder of Tier 1 Coaching, preparing military recruits and serving personnel to achieve their best physical and mental potential. Jim, welcome to the podcast, and thank you so much for joining us today to discuss your Dog Tags to Ownership. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
We're really excited to talk to you and speak to you today and learn a little bit about your journey from Dog Tags to Ownership. But before we get into all that, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your military service?
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined the Royal Marines when I was 24, and that was back in 2016. Went to school, didn't do so well at school, didn't know what I was going to do in Civvy Street, did a little bit of everything, a little bit of PT, a few other little bits, went to university, and I just wanted something a bit different, new challenges. And I thought, well, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it properly, right? So joined Royal Marines in 2016 and did just under 9 years, and last 4.5 years of my time was spent as a physical training instructor and exercise rehabilitation instructor down at Limpson Commando. PCI side of it was preparing recruits during training to make sure they turn up fit, and then take them to end state, which was a Green Beret passing out the Royal Marines. And then the rehab side of things, went to specialist course and then I was rehabbing injured recruits and get them back into mainstream training. So same, but slightly different. That was my military service in a nutshell, if you like. And then exited and set up Tier 1 Coaching, and here I am today.
So when you knew that you were going to transition out of the Royal Marines, did you know that that's what you were going to go into, is coaching? Was that part of your strategy or your plan?
It wasn't part of my strategy when I was in the Royal Marines, but I guess as most entrepreneurs, they see a problem. And some people sit on that problem and they do nothing about it. Well, I guess I saw a problem, and that was like recruits not only turning up physically prepared for Royal Marines training. I saw that side of it when they were failing tests and just weren't preparing the right way. But then I saw the other side, which was like the injuries and the amount of injuries that recruits that sustain injuries during training. When I was serving, and still is today, 48% of those recruits injured in there are in the first 8 weeks of Royal Marines training. All right. And that's when I saw a real problem. And that's when I thought, it's time to do something about it. Let's see if we can set something up to help these guys prepare a little bit better and bulletproof the body, as I call it here at Tier 1 Coaching.
Did you want to go that career path in the Royal Marines, or was that an assignment that the Marines selected you to do?
In the Royal Marines, you soldier first, you pass out, and then you soldier, and then you can sort of pick your SQs, your specializations. I'd say the Royal Marine, like PTI side of things, because of my background, I have a sports science degree, personal trainer in Civvy Street. Although when I joined the Royal Marines, I didn't just want to jump straight into the PTI role. I wanted to see what it was about. But I think that was my destined pathway. And then you have to go on a selection course for that, an aptitude, and then a pretty brutal course to become a PTI, which was still one of the best courses I ever did in the Royal Marines.
Okay, the Royal Marines provide any kind of like education benefits to help pay for some of the civilian courses that you were able to complete while you were in?
No, I did all that before I joined. So I did my PT qualification before I joined. I did my degree before I joined. They do offer some stuff in the Royal Marines. Like you can do like sort of part-time university and things. It doesn't help you. Like the Royal Marines is very different to Civvy Street in the fact that nothing really transfers over.
Okay.
So although I did all these qualifications, it doesn't set you up to go down that road. They don't push you down that road. You've got to take charge of your career, I guess. And that's just what landed with me. I guess in recruit training, I think my training team, they knew what route I was going to go down. They were very confident I'd probably be a PTI. They were like, "You recruit Reading, you will be a PTI, won't you?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna see what happens," because I was fit. That was definitely my strength in recruit training. But it turns out they were right.
Yeah. And what about as you neared the end of your military career? Did the Navy do anything from your business startup standpoint? Were there any benefits or anything you could leverage from your service? Or
Do you know what, Matt? It was a lot of challenges. It was crazy in my eyes. They put me through some real hard. They put me through some shit, should we say? If you don't mind me swearing there. For me, this was set up for all the right reasons, and I still believe that today, and it's why we're doing so well here at Teal and Coaching. Because it was set up with like credibility, authenticity, and all the right reasons, which was like setting people up for success. And I set this up and went all in. I was still serving at the time. I didn't know I was leaving the Royal Marines, but I kind of did, to be fair. I was like, I'll set this up and see how this goes. And as soon as I set it up, it started to gain traction. And it was because of the way I pushed it. I think it was my credibility. I think I stood there on social media and I just went all in. Like, this is what we do. I'm Jim Redding. I'm a Royal Marines PTI, and I'm going to help people aspire to join the Royal Marines. And I just threw it out there. My first video I was in rig, so it was very standout. Okay, so it was like, if I'm doing this properly. And of course, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think it would get attention. It was kind of the master plan. It got attention. But that was going to be my point, was like, well, there's clearly something falling down here, and the preparation is definitely falling down. Why don't we get someone behind this who kind of knows what they're talking about and can do this the right way? There are a lot of people out there doing this stuff anyway in the Royal Marines. I wasn't the first. I think I just went in. I went in and did it, like stood out. And they instantly, within 8 weeks, I was in front of a high-ranking officer in the Royal Marines, questioning me, asking me to remove stuff from social media and stuff. And I said, look, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. And it come round to the idea, it was the sort of question was like, okay. And it was like, I think he got behind why I was doing it, and I could justify it. I could sit there confidently and justify it. And the question was proposed, would I do something for the Royal Marines and set up what I've done, sort of help the recruitment team there? Yeah, I said, yeah, of course, I can definitely help, but I'm not going to give the business that I've just set up and just pass it over. Thank you very much. There's got to be something in it for me. So as long as the business can be part of this, I get paid anyway through the business and through the military for the daily role I do. I wasn't going to let it fall short, my daily role fall short. That's first and foremost. But it was like kind of thrown in back of my face and was like, no. And then they got someone else to do a similar role in the Royal Marines. I did what I did. But then the next year was pretty challenging. I was in a lot of meetings and talks about what we were doing. At that point, I was like, yeah, I'm done. And then that was my transition out, if you like.
we understand very well on our side of the pond how bureaucracy works. I think what you're doing is incredible. So your business is focused on getting civilian recruits physically fit and achieve a higher success rate of actually passing their physical training in the Royal Marines. You also coach folks that are already serving and then potentially going into like specialty assessments or something of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we started off by just taking people civilians that were aspiring to join the Royal Marines. And that was what I niched. That was the niche of Tier 1 coaching, because that was what I did at Credibility Talks. So that's where we started, and that just grew arms and legs very, very quickly. I was like, wow, this is growing fast. I'm currently still serving, managing a business on the side that was just like doing this. The growth was unreal. So I had to quickly hire, and that's where I brought in some other Royal Marine PTI coaches. That continued to grow. And then we started coaching the All-Armed Commander course. So people going for the All-Armed Commander course is for Navy, Army, and Royal Navy, Army, and the RAF ranks. They can go and earn commando status. They can get a green lid, but they keep their cat badge, essentially. That's done at Limpston Commando as well, where I already was. So Royal Marine PTIs are heavily involved in that. So then I started getting them in. And then I had a mate who was an All-Armed Commander course chief instructor of the last course. He just finished that job. So then he comes to Tier 1 coaching and then started coaching. Then a P company, which is Paris, Sergeant Major, he comes to, so I got him on board with Tier 1 coaching. And then, so now we sort of like gone from just helping people train for the Royal Marines, the Army, and now we're doing specialist courses. And I no longer do much of the coaching. I do very little. The guys around me do that. So we've got 5 coaches that are doing all the coaching for us, which is class. And the results are, the numbers are talking. It's the proof's in the pudding. So it's great.
I just a follow up to that. So I know in the U.S., so we had a recruiting issue for a few years. We're still, I think, somewhat in that recruiting issue, and we created, I don't know, do you know what they're called, Matt? Those, it's before you go to basic training, basically. It's people who want to go in the military, but either they need to lose weight, they need to get physically fit, they need their ASVAB score. That's the test that you take to come into the in the U.S. military. Like one of those 3 things needs to be approved upon. And I just like thinking about what you're doing is very similar to that program that we started in the U.S. Army to try to help with recruiting and get people in. From my perspective, you could be beneficial to all of the militaries and helping people get fit, mentally fit, whatever it may be, to be able to go into the military. So do you only work with folks in the UK to help them, or do you also work with other countries for folks to go into those militaries as well?
Yeah, great question. I'll be honest, most of our stuff's all been UK based, but we've spoken to some people in South Africa. We've worked actually with people in South Africa that have come over to the Royal Marines. The furthest field we went was someone in Hong Kong who was going for the fire service, which was pretty cool. We did some bits with him. He's in and doing very well. I've spoken to some guys in the US and stuff that are going on course over there, but we've not actually pushed out and done much there. But we are always, I believe, the coaching, the credibility and stuff that we do here. We can, if you can train people to go on to join the Royal Marines and pass out and that, and other courses, arduous courses, it kind of transfers into any field, I think, really, with any arduous courses. So we're always for it, We don't want to be a one-trick pony. Let's see where we can take this and keep growing.
Where do you get the majority of your clients? Are you able to basically recruit at recruiting centers in the UK? Do you have cards there? Are you able to do that?
Nah, they just Tier 1 coaching the name pops up, and I think people they shit themselves. No, I just speak so honestly and openly about it. Like it's a shame, right? Because the thing is, look, that we're highly respected. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of guys, a lot of my oppos, a lot of my mates, people that weren't trying to poke the nose in this and shut this business down, hierarchy, etc., are all supportive of this. So when recruits go down and they get asked, where have you come from, Tier 1 coaching, all the PTIs that are taking the course, they'll stand there and go, we've got a good product here. Or we are recommended by a lot of the guys that are on my wavelength.
I know Julie, what she was kind of talking about earlier with recruiting and other locations for the US, only about 25% are qualified to join. I don't know. I imagine the numbers are similar in the UK, but typically what washes people out are either their ability to pass the test, the ASVAB for us, legal issues, or a medical type issues, or perhaps being overweight, or they just can't pass the entry level test. So you're focusing on, in my mind, a little bit less than 25% of that population that can't get in, and you're having a lot of success. So can you talk a little bit about your numbers that you've been able to achieve to get folks through?
Yeah. So we have a 78% pass rate on the CPC right now out of all our candidates that go down, which is pretty exceptional. Like, you look at the standard rate. I don't know what the Royal Marine standard rate is now, but you're looking at like 40, 50%, I think, from when I was, so I've known you less than a year ago now. Can't imagine it's changed much. We're pushing out numbers. I was actually just looking through stats there of guys passing out as well. And I think the norm again there's a stat actually. I don't know how old or outdated this is if we're looking at references and get really picky with it, but 26,000 applies to the Royal Marines every year. I don't know whether that's like apply and start. There's probably, it's like they put their application in.
Mm-hmm.
And only 400 earn their Green Beret.
Mm.
Only 400 a year. That's mental. That's crazy. And that's a stat out there pushed out by Forces News. I could confidently, I don't believe we've got enough data because this has only been going since 2023. So we're sort of 2.5 years in. We haven't got enough data to sort of sit there and fully start pushing out percentages and stuff. Yeah, I don't believe. But we are above the industry norm, well above the industry norm. And a lot of our guys, don't get me wrong, you're getting a few that getting injured in Royal Marines training. that comes with the nature of the beast. Like, you could be on Dartmoor, you can roll an ankle, you could have your weight on your back, roll an ankle, break a leg, fall down a hole. There's all of that. As you can get very unlucky with Royal Marines, but because I believe we build the foundations, the bigger the foundation, the higher you can set the tower. Because we start there and we build a program specifically built for them based off testing week.
How does the program work, Jim? So say we know someone that wants to, maybe in the US, wants to try to go into the Ranger Regiment or something, and they reach out to you for the tier 1 coaching. Can you just walk us through how your program works from start to
Yeah, absolutely. So people usually find us through, I'd say, social media. Instagram's our main channel for us. But we've got website, tier 1 coaching website. We've got TikTok, we have YouTube channel. They get in touch, they'll speak with myself via a message, or they can just apply straight away. The link in the bio is to apply. They'll go through an application process, and then they'll either qualify for a one-to-one coaching, or they'll qualify for a different program. If they qualify for the one-to-one coaching, that's when they'll be able to book a call with myself, and we'll jump in a call. And that's when I sort of sit down and have a chat. And I'm there to, one, find out more about them, why, because I think a why is so important in anything you do. If you've not got a why and you've not got a strong enough why, then are you going to quit when it gets hard? That's huge. So why, them as an individual, and let's just say the structure and their training right now and what they're going of the specialist course they're going for. Now with that, if I think they're a fit and we fit, then we'll talk about what coaching looks like. And if not, it's no stress. There's nothing to lose. At least they'll walk away with at least one or two things, a strategy they can implement right there and right today. I don't qualify everyone. Like I said, it's got to be a 10 out of 10. You've got to want this. Your why has to be so strong that you're all in, because we want to work with people that are seriously invested in this. And if they come onto the pathway, we will work them on, obviously, and do all the admin parts to the onboarding sequence. They'll have a one-to-one call with their coach, who will be allocated based on their mission, their pathway that they're going for. And then we'll start coaching. The coaching starts off with the testing week. If you're not testing, you're guessing. So it's very, very important. We look at movement quality, how they move, because prevention is better than cure. But let's see if we can pick up any imbalances, any weaknesses early. So we do a test around the movement and screening. Then we'll look at the specific tests that they'll go into, and anything strength related, single leg strength work and all that, because that's huge in injury prevention. Off the back of that, me and the coach will sit down, we'll discuss the testing, we'll build out a needs analysis, and then we get to work. And then the coach programs, I'm just there to oversee operations, weekly check-ins, support. My team becomes their team. And this is the best way of putting it. We're all here to help and hand. And then we just go through the process until they're ready, essentially. And then that's it in a nutshell.
How do they log their journey? And I saw on your website, you all have an app. So is it through that app that they put everything in, what they're eating, what they're doing, and you give them the program in the app?
Exactly, yes. They walk in the gym, they'll open up the phone, you'll have the exercises, the reps, the sets. If they're unsure, they've got a video. All of that detail is there. They go off and tick the exercises, hit complete workout. Once they hit complete workout, the coach will get a notification to say they've completed it. Or the coach will get a notification to say they've missed the session. So that's one way of keeping them accountable. But where they're getting the bang for the buck, and the accountability sense is the check-ins. Every week I'm going to send them out a form. Rated performance this week. What went well this week? What didn't go so well this week? Talk to me about your nutrition. Sleep, stress, all of these things relate and can have an impact on that performance. And that's when the coach will then sit down, have a chat, a call, a FaceTime, a Zoom, whatever it might be, every week to really dial that in. How have they performed that week? Now what are we going to do to change it or tweak it or do much the same the next week? It's important that you're not changing every metric every week, because then you've got no metrics to really record. So it's just like, it's either volume, it's either intensity, it might be recovery. Do we need to start, is it time for a deload week? And that's where we can bring up the training data and then the check-in form and really get an idea of that.
So did you have any entrepreneur background prior to starting tier 1 coaching? How did you build all of those things for tier 1 coaching in the past 2 years?
Did I have any entrepreneurship? I had zero. But I heavily invested. When I say like I went all in, I went all in. I mean, half in gives half results, right? So, and it's as simple as that. So I invested in this. I invested in business coaches, mentorships. Do you know what? Because of the adversity and challenges I come up against, I had to give it a fuck you.
Mhm.
I had to go, like, that was fuel for my fire. No one even realizes, like, the stresses, the adversities I went through and challenges and the highs and lows, that they're real. They were really real. But but that just motivated me every day. Like I was, because I was on camp. I like to train. I like to keep myself physically fit myself. That's like number one, right? Because if you're not fit and healthy, you're no good to anyone. I've got missus at home, I've got kids at home, and I was in at work in the week, day job, flat out. But I was up at like 5 in the morning, like getting my gym out of the way, and then I was on the laptop, like programming people. Then I was doing my daily job. Then I had my lunch break, right? And while all the lads are around me having a laugh and going, "Where the fuck's Jim?" Jim's in his grot tapping away on the laptop. They'll tell you this. I used to be a social butterfly. I went zero. And then evening, back to the gym, then back to the grot till 11, 12 at night, then up, rinse and repeat. Then go home on weekends. And I want to spend time with my family now. My home's like 3 hours away from camp. So it's a 6 hour drive every week from there and back. But I was doing check-ins on weekends. So I was getting no credit. That went on for a year and a half. And that I just believed like you don't have to necessarily have the skills to be an entrepreneur. You just have to have the want and desire. And like I said earlier, when it gets hard, you have to remember your why. Because when it gets hard, that's when you lean in. It's only getting hard because you're about to take the next level and grow. So it's the two ways. You can get hard and not grow and fall short, or it gets hard and you grow with it and you take the next step.
Do the majority of folks that you all coach, are they fairly close geographically, or are they pretty well spread out throughout the UK?
Pretty well spread out, to be fair. It's something I've been meaning to do, is actually look where our main clients are geographically, like where are they? Because we run events now as well. It gives me an idea of locations, but we're dotted all over the UK,
But
mostly.
essentially, someone like Julie was alluding to earlier, if you wanted to coach someone in another country, someone that's trying to get in the US military and finds you, you could do the coaching from the UK. You could do it fully remote.
As long as we've got a laptop and we can get some Wi-Fi, we're good to go. But beauty is, like, I can really focus on the operations and the community and the strategy and all of that good stuff, because I've got all the coaches behind me doing the coaching now, which is amazing. I had to do a lot of that. I was managing 50 odd clients whilst doing what I was just saying to, but it's not sustainable. And I think what I've learned in entrepreneurship is leverage. Get your time back, because time's your biggest asset. You can spend all the money, you can make all the money, but if you ain't got the time, you're no good, right? That's when you can really do your focus time and thinking time, and that's why I've got the support and all the boys and that are working. They're phenomenal. Like,
Jim, what has been your biggest challenge as you've been growing Tier 1 coaching over the past 2.5
question.
years?
Great question. Yeah. So I'm going to get deep now, if you don't mind. So my biggest challenge was, one, the adversities that I was coming up against the military on the way out. But then 3 months, 12 weeks before I left the military, my dad got diagnosed with cancer. And 7 weeks later passed away. My dad was dearly very close to me. He was my dad. But yeah, we had a very, very special relationship. And for me, that was like, that was savage. That was hard. And that was my biggest challenge to overcome. Because not only then did I have the challenges with the military and the stuff I was going through there, I had the challenges at home and arranging his funeral. And I think again, that was fuel for the fire. I was lent so much into that funeral, making sure it was perfect, and the eulogy and everything around that. But I think it was, it's like seeing my dad go through that. And he didn't quit I got Winners Never Quit, Tier 1 coach Winners Never Quit, because my dad never quit. His body just shut down eventually. That was like, all right, we've had a hiccup, but as some people would, and rightly so, you need time out when something like that so tragically happens. I went the opposite. And I don't think it was the right thing to do, but I just went into the business. I was like, let's go. Were the military any more supportive? No. They were still trying to do everything they could to shut the business down. So that was really quite hard and difficult, because it's meant to be a brotherhood. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here slaughtering the military. I'm helping people get into it. I love it. It's a big part of me. And my dad was very proud of me to be a Royal Marine. Proudest thing he ever say. But it let me down. They let me down quite a bit there. So that was my biggest challenge. But I'm a big believer of life happens for you and not to you. So what I mean by that was that just the end of my dad's life, and that was his time to go. So I could truly spread the wings and be the provider in my family that I want to be. And I've learned so many lessons through my dad going. And I truly believe that life happens for you, not to you. You can't hate on that. You just have to go with it and roll with the times.
I like that.
kudos to you for taking that and moving forward with it. So you do have a great social media presence. I know you have a YouTube, you have Instagram. Who does your social media? How did you get started with the social media?
Yeah, so I am the man that can't let that one go. I love it. Like I love hate it. No, I do really love it though. But I love hate relationship. So it takes up a lot of my time. It takes a lot of my thinking space. But I didn't realize how quite creative I am. I always would have told someone I'm not creative. I'm just crack on and whatever. But I've realized how creative I am, and I think I love that side of it. You can just as long as I'd say my stuff's quite very, very professional. I like to try and keep very professional with it. And I think it comes across that way, but I like to have fun with it as well. Strategy wise, that's part of me and my mentor that I work with today. We're always sitting down, we're always banging our heads together. Where should we move? What should we do? I know my audience better than anyone, so I'm quite confident with what I'm doing. So it's all me. Awesome.
So where do you see tier one coaching in the next 5 to 10 years? And where do you see yourself?
Yeah, good. Okay. Right now, I'd say, so if we look at the now and here, so I believe like what we built in 2.5 years is incredible, and it exceeded all expectations that I ever thought. And that's kudos to my team. Everyone's a link band here. Of course, I'm the face, and I'm the driver, but small team of A players will walk, as Steve Jobs would say, a small team of A players will walk all over a big team of B and C players. And I truly believe this is gold standard. This is doing bits because of the team credibility and everything we push behind it, and the passion and the drive. So right here, right now is like that. I just want to keep doubling down on what we're doing and what we're doing excellent. The buzzword for me this year has been community, because I've been on such a mission to grow. And that mission has taken off. Like I said, it's going great. We're over 100 one-to-one clients now, which is exceptional. And so now I'm like, community, where can we add more value inside? Let's not look so much at growth now. Because growth we're out there now. It's coming fast anyway. So let's now really double down on community, which I think is really, really great anyway. But now more events. So I'm really tapping into the events. So I'd say next 5 years, I just want to keep doing this really well. Gold standard, add more events, add more value, push out to, America, Canada, wherever we can be, let's push out, because this is truly working. It's a proven pathway. So I'd say double down the next 5 years. Now, 10 years, we're going to be talking what am I now, 34? So 44. I think I'm destined to be a mentor myself. I think like when I set Tier 1 coaching up, I'd lent into mentors. I've always had a mentor, business mentor. I've learned a lot through the way. I've learned a lot of lessons. I've had a lot of failures, which is great. To be successful, you need to double your failure rate. And I feel like I've got so much to share. Like I genuinely do. I think I'll write a book one day, because I think my life going back to as a kid to a teenager with one GCSE, a hiccup with trouble in the past and stuff. I think there's so much that I've got there. And I hope people I just want to provide value. I want to inspire people, because I feel like I said, it's not been all sailing. But for me, it's not all been like ring of roses. I've gone through so many adversities, so many, half of we haven't talked about staying, but it doesn't have to, because that'll be in the book. And then mentor people that want to do this or want to set up businesses, because I think I've got more to give.
So what would be one piece of advice you would give someone who wants to get into entrepreneurship?
The main one I've got to say is like, have a strong why, right? Have a strong why. It goes back to your why, because when you've got a strong enough why, you've got the desire, you can honestly, I truly believe this, you can achieve anything with a strong enough why. You've got to have that vision behind you. Then what comes next is naysayers, because you're going to get haters. It doesn't matter whatever you do, whether that's good, whether that's bad, someone is going to be negative. That's noise. That's fuel for the fire. Put it in a box. Close your eyes if you have to. Put your blinkers on. Fucking keep going. Because when you've got the why, when you've got that vision, nothing should be in your way. Just kick it out of the way. Move on. Move on so quickly. Ignore the haters. There's going to be so many, because it's fueled by jealousy, and they want a part of your pie. They want to be part of your team. No, keep going. Ignore it. So you got a why. Ignore the naysayers. Just don't stop. It's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging. You're going to go down. You're going to go up. That's peaks and troughs. That's valleys, peaks and valleys. To go up, you've got to go down eventually. But just know, stick with the curve, trust yourself, trust the process. You'll go up again, and then you take the next peak. Then you go down, and then you take the next peak. And that is entrepreneurship in a nutshell.
I think those are three great pieces of advice.
Tier one. How'd you come up with a name? How'd you come up with a name? I mean, other than wanting to be the gold standard, top tier, is that it?
Tier one coaching. Tier one coaching was the name. That was like, that's what we stuck with, right? When we're tier one coaching and sort of stuck with that. But then it was the branding that I didn't know what I was going to do. I went tier one because I just think it was the credibility, the authenticity. We were going to be gold standard. The gold didn't come straight away. I actually was listening to a podcast. It was Stephen Bartlett, Diaries of a CEO podcast, and he had Charlie Sloth on. Charlie Sloth, fire in the booth anyway. He's like a rap, presents a rap show, if you like. And he talked about, I think it was AU vodka or something. And some kids set it up, some college kids or whatever at university, and they set it up. And I think it was like branded silver. And he tasted it and was like, I've got to get in touch with these guys. This is sensational. This is beautiful. This bottle needs to be gold. And I was listening to that going, I was driving back to the camp, back to Livingston Commando, going, yes. And I was listening. And I was like, tier one coaching, it needs to be gold. It's gold standard. Everything, the Royal Marines, Livingston Commando is center of excellence. Tier one coaching, center of excellence. We're going to lead the military preparation space, and we ain't going second to anyone. We ain't silver, we ain't bronze, we're gold. We're winning this race. We're doing better than anyone. And that was it. Again, I go back to, my story, and probably just for what entrepreneurs would always deal with. They'll always deal with naysayers and haters. But every man should be a link man, especially in the military. The brotherhood, that's foundations. The brotherhood. Don't hate on people that want to leave the military and set up something. Support it, and you don't have to. It was fuel for my fire. It worked out for me. Some of my friends, people I call friends, I wouldn't call them. I wouldn't spend a minute with them now, because I saw it opened up my eyes to some people. Everyone says in the military, I love seeing someone do well. I love seeing so-and-so do well. They don't. So I think that for me was just be a one thing that's always stuck with me. But for me, it worked out. But I just hope it changes. I want to see guys do well. I want to see lads leave the Royal Marines. I want to see lads leave the military, the US Marines, whatever, and set up businesses, because we've got so much to give. You learn so much in the military. You learn integrity, you learn values, you learn standards, you learn like a good Marine 5 minutes early. All of these small things, appearance, these small things that make a huge, huge difference in society. And I think in the military, you're kind of like, it's its own little bubble. People are very nervous to leave, right? Are very, very like, I can't leave. What am I going to do? Because you're a soldier and you shoot weapons, you fire rifles and whatever, and you're a soldier first. Doesn't mean Civvy Street hasn't got a place for you, because your values, your integrity, everything you learn in the military is so transferable when you'll stand out in Civvy Street, support each other, because that's what this is all about. 100%.
I know Julie and I, we love that, and we're 100% about building that community, and really why this podcast came about, to
Awesome.
help folks that are transitioning out, whether it's been 3 years or 30 years, to do something besides shoot guns and blow stuff up that they truly want to do, whether that's like woodworking or starting some kind of Fortune 500 company. So cool to have these opportunities to speak to somebody like you. And I just want to say it was refreshing, because when I saw tier one coaching, I thought you were going to be like a leadership or career coach or something. So it was very refreshing to hear the type of coaching you're doing and the physical fitness and stuff. I can
Thank
relate
you.
more to that, I think, in a lot of ways. So love
Yeah.
what you're doing over there. And the US should take note, and some entrepreneurs in the US should take note, because the US military badly needs what you're doing, because we're not getting any healthier over here. And so I know
Really? Okay.
folks could really use this kind of training. So my actual pre-staged question is, I read a lot of books on real estate. That's my passion. What book would you recommend to our listeners? It can be anything that maybe you found useful during your journey.
Yeah, I read. Always got something going on. A book and then an Audible. Every month I've got something to tap into. So my go-tos, one of my all-time favorites, I think his name Jeff Olson, The Slight Edge. The Slight Edge is about the 1% marginal gains. The things that are easy to do are also the things that are very easy to avoid. Getting up in the morning and just putting your trainers on to go to the gym. That's so easy to do, but how hard is that, right, for people to do it? Because they lose motivation, right? So that's all like 1% marginal gains. That is such a good book. I'd always go and, it inspired me massively. Obviously, Atomic Habits by James Clear, go-to habits. So I read 2 books recently, and I was reading one book, and then my business mentors quickly told me to read the next one, and I'm so thankful we did. So everyone talks about Think and Grow Rich. It's a big hitter, right, by Napoleon Hill. Great book, and I think it talks about, that's all about money. Think and grow rich, manifestation. If you believe it, see it, you will achieve it. Think and grow rich every day, right? But what I've learned as well is money doesn't buy happiness. It can buy problems, right? And it can buy things, but it can also buy. You can also lose yourself in the making. So I come off that book and went into Morgan Housel, who's an exceptional author, Psychology of Money, and The Art of Spending Money. Was such a great read after that, and that's probably up there with one of my favorites now, The Art of Spending Money. So I learned so much on that one, and that's about, as you probably know, is like, you can have all the money and buy all these like materialistic things, all these like, I think the one thing he framed which really stuck with me is like, go and buy like a Lamborghini, drive down the pub, and your mates will go, wow, look at that, he's got a Lamborghini, that is exceptional. Drive it down, oh, that's really nice. And then the third time, a nice car, mate. Oh, cool. It's like, it's just showing off. Yeah, it's what matters inside that really counts. Like, inside your house is having a nice inside is better than the outside that everyone can see. It's what's inside that matters. So that was a really cool one. That'd be my
I like that.
favorites.
The one thing in the habits type thing, it's a good segue for Julie's next question.
Yes. Yes, it is. So the final question of every episode is, Admiral William McRaven authored the book, Make Your Bed, Little Things That Can Change Your Life and Maybe the World. So Jim, do you make your bed every morning?
Honestly, I don't, but it's because I'm the first up. I'm the first out of the house. I come when I go to bed, the bed is made. I'm the first in bed, but I'm the first up. But it's so true. Yeah, look, if on camp when it was just me, 100%. Like it's the 1% marginal gains. And I think I haven't read that book, but I can only imagine like how you start your day is so important. And if you can make your bed in the morning, if you can go and brush your teeth and you have make sure I've got my hair that's covered in hair wax, all these little things though. They're the things that matter. That's how you should start your day. Anything positively, start making a bed. Journal. Make yourself feel good and then go out of the house and win the day. Win the day. Always starts with making your bed. Not that I do that because the missus does it.
Jim, we know it's getting late there, but we want to just say thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and just really glad that we're able to link up and have just a great candid conversation and dig deep into your story. And we just really applaud you for what you're doing and the impact you're having. And I know the community that you will continue to build over the next 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years. So kudos to you on what you're doing.
No, I just want to say as well, like Matt and Julie, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure to be on this, and for me, really refreshing too, to share my experiences, but speak to two very, very great people, what they do.
Military One Percenters, whether you're brainstorming your first business idea, already running a company, or just curious about where to start, Dog Tags to Ownership is the place for you. Please hit that subscribe button to receive all new episodes. Also, if you know someone who has turned their dog tags into ownership, drop us a DM on social media or tag someone. We are always looking for new guests to bring onto the podcast. And as always, Military One Percenters, thank you for your service. Let's continue this journey and working together to write our next chapter. Until next week, keep pushing to turn those dog tags into ownership.
From dog tags to ownership, heroes take the lead. Stories of veterans building trains with passion, drive, and speed. From service to success, we're here to inspire the quest. Dog tags to ownership, we're the best. price.